our next guest has been on the show before, and I think it was maybe a year and a half ago. Her name is Sharon C. Cooper, and she has on her Black Authors Matter t-shirt. I have on one of our new t-shirts. I don't know if I need to, let me stand up and see if I can show. This is our t-shirt, Men Who Wrote, and we have 6 t-shirts now.
Nice.
This one is Men Who Wrote, and it has current authors on it. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Kwame Alexander. We only have like the first name and last initial, Walter Mosley. And then the other 2 names are James McBride. And what's the last name? Oh, Colson Whitehead. Okay. So those are, this is one of our shirts. And we will have them all, our full line of shirts at the National Black Book Festival for those who are attending this year. And so Sharon, welcome back to
Thank
Black
you.
Authors
Thanks
Matter
for having
TV.
me.
Yeah, and you were on like a year and a half ago, I think. I'm guessing.
But I think it's been at least a year.
Yeah, it has. It has been at least a year. So you were on with another book that had come out recently, and now you have a new book. So, and this is book 6 in a 6-part series.
It is, yes, it is. I had to think about it because I'm on a different series now, so it's like
okay. So there's
trying to keep us straight.
Now, are you indie? Are you indie published?
I am indie, and I have, well, actually, my contract for traditional has finished, so technically, yes, I'm indie.
Okay, now is this
hybrid?
Is this one of your indie series?
This is.
Okay, all right. And this one is about the Jenkins and Son Construction Company. So it's about a family business, I guess. I'm guessing.
It is.
Okay.
It is part of, it's actually a spinoff. It's the Jenkins and Sons Construction series, but it's a spinoff from my Jenkins family series. And the family, it's a family-run construction company. And each story, the first series had 5 stories, and this series has 6 stories. And in each one, just try to, share the family dynamics, how close the family is, and how they kind of, how they come together to run this business, basically.
So how many, so on the cover of this one is The Cost of Love. Do you have a copy of it with you?
I do.
Andy, so you can show the cover to the audience.
Yeah, it might show up backwards, so I'm not sure how that works.
No, it's forwards. Okay. It's only backwards if it's Zoom, but if it's live stream Zoom, it's forwards.
Okay.
I learned that when I did some live Zooming, and I did Zoom, but it wasn't live on Facebook.
Gotcha.
Oh, I did Facebook Live. That's what it was. I did Facebook Live, but it wasn't on Zoom. So Facebook Live is backwards.
Okay.
But Zoom, and then you do Facebook, is forwards.
Okay.
And I have no idea why, but that's just like some trivia. I learned that. So I like that. Show the cover again. One thing that caught my attention about the cover were the colors, the color matching that you did. Because there's an art to doing these covers, and I always like to look at people's covers. But you matched that green with, it looks like some green at the top.
Yep, it's blue and black. Okay. Actually, I have to give all credit to the cover designer, Liz. She designed it. Usually what she'll do is ask me what I want, and usually I don't know what I want. And then she tosses out some ideas. And so these were a set of colors she hadn't used yet with the other, one of the things about having a series is you eventually
have to complement each other. Yeah, you want to tie them in together somehow.
Yep, but not have them all the same either. Right. So she did a fabulous job. Liz,
Yeah, it's really,
Liz
really, and
design. Yeah.
even the font, I really like the font.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
and you only have one person on there, so this is the central character for this particular story.
It is. I looked at it as his story. With that whole series, there's only the heroes on the cover. And then in most cases, when I'm writing it, I'm thinking this is their story. So
Okay, so it's Jenkins and Sons construction. So that means that all of the main characters are males. Is that right?
in this series, yes, the Jenkins family series, the first five books were the granddaughters. It was the patriarch retired, and so none of his children wanted to take over the business, so he passed it down to his grandchildren. And so the Jenkins family series, those five books are for the granddaughters who ran the construction company. They each were trade certified, or they each were had a trade. There was a plumber by trade, carpenter, electrician, etc. And so then once I finished their five stories, did the spinoff with the Jenkins and Sons, and is the grandsons now who, for the most part, are running the business, but they're all running it together. They all have different roles basically.
Okay. So do you have a business background or family business background? What made you focus on?
I do. I'm a sheet metal worker by trade. Haven't done construction in probably 35 years though. And then I have a business background. I assisted in running our family's business. It was a pretty large childcare center in Wisconsin, and that was maybe 20 years ago. And so now I just write about that stuff.
Okay, because I have a business background to write about business, unless you just take it from the drama part. Some people, like the family business, for example, the Carl Weber series, they have a business, but the story is more about the
The
drama
trauma.
than it is about the business itself.
Okay.
So it
Yeah,
sounds
I think
like
mine's combined both.
okay.
There's a little drama, but not Carl Weber's level of drama.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us about, since this is book six, give us a little synopsis, a snippet of what happens, because people might want to go back and start. I know for me, when I read a series, I like to start at the beginning.
Okay.
So, and if I don't realize it's a series and then I read it out of order, once I read the book, then I want to still go back and start, even if I started in the wrong place, if I
Yeah.
started in the middle. So tell us about the first installment. How does it get started? And then bring us
Well,
up to
first,
date with the six.
okay, first let me say with all of my books, every single book I've written, I try to write them as standalones because that often happens where someone might find me and I might be on book five in one of the series. The good thing is readers can pick up any one of my books and read it without being lost. So if they haven't read the other four or five books, they won't be lost. I definitely wanted to just say that. This particular series starts with Love Under Contract. And this is that is Nick and Samira's story. And it's when, because I had mentioned that um the the Jenkins family started with the girls, basically, the granddaughters. And so when that fifth granddaughter got married and relocated to New York, she kind of had to pass the baton to the next, cousin who was in line, basically. And then that's where Nick came in. So it starts, the series kicks off with Nick and Samira, and it kind of introduces a little bit more about the business, The grandfather, who's the patriarch of the family, who they all look up to. He's this bigger than life kind of guy, but loves his family. And so it showed him, basically teaching him. There are some scenes where just schooling him on, how to handle business situations that came up during that story. That story had a little bit more drama than some of the other ones. And it just kind of set the tone. Let me do that. I attempted to set the tone for the rest of the stories in that series. He has a twin brother, and so Nick is, I think his role is he's a sheet metal worker by trade, but he manages the company now. And then his brother, who has a finance background, he's the CFO of the company. So he's the second book. The third book, who's the third book? I can't remember who the third book was. I think the third book was one of the carpenters. That might have been Jerry, then Liam. Liam was the architect. And so each of the characters, they either have a trade or something that can enhance the business, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so in the Cost of Love, this character, Antonio, he is an estimator, but he has a degree in business, and I believe engineering also. So he adds another layer or another level. I'm not sure which would be the proper way of saying it, to the business. So they each have a background to run the business, basically.
Oh,
And
okay.
in each story I do, one of the readers seem to really enjoy, the fans of the Jenkins family. In each of the story, there's a Sunday brunch. Their grandmother, matriarch, wants her family to always eat together, eat, pray together, and things of that nature. But she insists that they show up for Sunday brunch. And Sunday brunch is this big, huge, banquet like every Sunday.
Oh,
And their family is so huge. So, they live in a mansion and the whole family, generations, show up on Sunday for Sunday brunch. And so that's a big part of the series also.
okay. All right. Now, how many books when you were on before? I'm trying to recall it. But seems like you had like 30 books or something like that. Is that a close?
I
Am I
can't
close?
remember then, but right now I'm either at 43, I think I'm at 43 now.
Okay. I knew
Yeah,
there
I
were a
think I'm
lot.
at
I knew it was like
43.
more than 12 and more than 24.
Yeah,
But I knew,
yeah,
I knew it was quite a few.
yeah. And those are,
And
some are indie, some are traditional in that number. Yeah.
okay. And so what do you like most about the writing that you do in terms of um how you present it to the reader? Like
I think
what do you like
what I
most about doing that?
Yeah, I think what I enjoy most of my stories, even if they're, the series characters aren't related, I really try to create this family vibe through, like, even with my Atlanta's Finest series, they are a group of security or personal security specialists, but they're a family, a connection, whereas, kind of family driven, sort of speak, even though they're friends, co-workers, but they come across as a family. And that's the same with the Jenkins family, with the Reunited series. So that's one of the things I really am, pro family with my stories. Um, what do I enjoy? I think what I enjoy and hopefully readers enjoy is every book is different. I really, really, especially the more books I write, now that you learn a little bit more every book you write. So I try to really, incorporate things I've been learning, and then try to make sure that when a reader picks up my book, they feel like they know that they're going to get an enjoyable story that might not be like that next person's story. And, it'll be unique, but still, hopefully enjoyable.
Now, are they all with male featured as the main character, or is it a variety?
Um, well, they're all romance novels. And I would say for some reason, usually even when I'm planning my stories, the male characters, the ideas for the male character comes before. I think of those before the female character. Not sure why, but it usually works out that way. I don't know if it's just easier or, so when I'm mentioning a story, I often say, Ashton's story, or, I usually mention the guys more quicker than I mention the heroines. Not sure why though. Yeah. Not sure if I even thought about that really, but
Okay.
yeah.
So how long have you been writing? When did your first book come out?
My first book came out in the spring of 2012. So what is
Well,
that?
you've done a
12
lot of writing in a short period of time.
years. Yeah, 12 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have 40 something books. That's a lot. That's
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
writing in a short period of time.
it
So do
is.
you write full time?
I do. I didn't
Oh,
start out writing full time, but the last few years I've been writing full time.
okay. And if you were to give someone advice who wants to be like, how far in were you before you made the decision in terms of book count? How far and what made you decide I want to do this full time?
Ooh, how far in was I? I might have had, I can't remember. I probably had at least maybe 10, 12 books, maybe even more than that before I did it full time. Because I eased into full time, whereas like was originally working full time, then started working part time or
Okay.
doing some consulting work. And so I kind
Okay.
of eased into it. So it's kind of hard to say because I still did, even though I was writing full time, I still did some consulting on the side. Um, so yeah, I would say tell anybody, don't quit your day job right away.
Well, I tell people that about and writing full time is kind of like being in business.
It
Um,
is.
and
It
I'm an
totally.
author too, but that's not my primary source of income at all. Uh,
Okay.
but I tell people if you have an idea and you have a little money to get started, make sure start part time and make sure you have proof of concept before you. And even then, you might want to wait. Then you need to wait till you get your revenue up to a certain point that it can sustain your lifestyle. You don't
It
want to
helps.
dog poverty. Oh,
Yeah, it
no,
definitely helps. And
yeah.
it's up and down, especially these days, yeah.
Yeah, you
I
have to be
still enjoy
flexible.
it to certain, every now and then I think like, okay, maybe it's time to do something different and then do this part-time, but then more story ideas come and I just kind of keep going. So we'll see.
Well, if you're able, well, you wouldn't have that many books unless you were indie and traditional, because you wouldn't have been able to publish that many books in that shorter period of time. Because your books are trade size, they're not like the small paperback romances. And
No, they average probably anywhere from, I don't know, 225 pages up to 300 and some pages, maybe.
okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so you your writing, like some romance authors are putting out like 4 books a year, but they're the smaller, size. They're less word counts and so forth.
Okay.
So for romances, but yours look more like, now they have a category women's fiction, which is kind of like quasi romance and um, mainstream, but featuring a woman as a main
Yeah.
character.
I've actually considered writing, trying my hand at women's fiction, but I know even if I write women's fiction, there'll be some elements of romance, might not be as much, but there definitely will be romantic elements in it,
Okay, so you're a romantic at heart.
Definitely. I love love.
And how do you keep you said every story is different. I find for the most part, all have the same plot. And people want they want the happily ever after at the end. People who
Yeah,
do romance, that's like a requirement.
it is. It is. You have to, if it doesn't have that happily ever after or happily for now, then technically it's not a romance.
Okay.
And so yeah, I mean, I love reading romance, so I can't even see not writing it in some capacity, I guess.
So who are the romance writers that you read?
Oh, I read all different that I read. When I first started, it was mainly, Frances Ray, Brenda Jackson, Maureen Smith. Then when I first started, now it's all over the board. Doesn't matter the nationality. Usually I still stay within, I don't read too much like dark romance. Usually I read probably majority romantic suspense. I really enjoy Katie Rose, Kalia Cross, um, AC Arthur. It's yeah, a ton. I hate to start naming because then you start forgetting people.
Well, that's okay. That just gives us like you said you love to read romance, so that's why I
Oh
was
yeah,
wondering, with some of the
yeah,
writers that you mentioned.
yeah. Half the time I might not even know who the author is. If I see one that sounds interesting, I get it. Yeah.
Mhm. And so, do you find when I read a book, when I read books, because I'm a writer, I'll read the book, and then as I'm reading, I'll say, I might have said that differently. Do you ever do that?
Oh yeah, I think that's natural. Or
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
like, oh wow, that was an interesting way, a nice twist, or.
Uh-huh.
I just think it's just part of like human nature. I won't say to critique, but to,
Oh, it's not. It's more
you
like
know,
observations.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You do notice
Because
different things, or even with movies, I noticed where you're waiting for that turning point at a certain point in the movie and things of that nature. So yeah, those things I noticed probably without trying to notice them. You just
okay,
know, like
yeah,
at
not it's
this
not
point, something
intentional.
should be happening.
Yeah, it's not like you're doing it for like a book report or anything like that.
Right, exactly.
Just as you're reading, you notice things.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I noticed, and since you mentioned movies, there's there are a lot of Black centered romance books, but the whole rom-com, romantic comedy, or just a straight romance, um, we don't see that as much. Or maybe it could be out there and I'm missing it somehow. Most of the time, it seems like the relationship type movies are more that feature us are more either revenge or some kind of uh,
Drama.
drama. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
romance. It's
Yeah.
more like trauma. It could be, you know.
And it's funny you say that because I was mentioning that to someone recently. And what it does, it just makes me want to write more. Because one of the things and I'm sure they're out there, I might not have seen all of them or see, I would really love to see more of our movies that kind of shed our Black men in a more positive light. I did see one actually this weekend. Can't think of the name of it. I know it was a Terry McMillan feature this weekend, and it was an enjoyable story. It really showed the Black male character in a positive light, and it's like it would really be nice to see more movies like that versus the revenge or the abuser or
Right.
it would be wonderful,
Yeah.
and they're out
Or they
there.
just
Don't get
die.
me wrong, they're out there. It's just they you see more of the drama ones more so
Right.
than those real true, make you sigh romance.
Right. Right. Or one that's just like a fun story.
Yeah.
Just,
That's not real silly,
right.
like that's not real silly.
Right. Yeah, like
Yeah.
over the top, silly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that. Just a romantic comedy or just a romance. Just straight like they do for uh, you know, the
Okay.
majority culture, I put it like that. So
Yeah.
I would love to see more of that. And the stories are out there because people are
They're
writing.
out there because I know a lot of the authors that are writing them. So
Yes.
hopefully they're in the works. Hopefully they're coming.
Hopefully, I know Beverly Jenkins just got option for a TV series for one of her. I think it's with Netflix or something, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But she just recently got signed something for one of her series, one of her contemporary series.
Yeah. And then Brenda Jackson, she's doing a couple of,
Yes, Brenda Jackson is
so
too.
I think they're coming. I'm just hoping that they, those that direct or produce really shine a positive light on the stories.
Right. So show us a copy of your cover one more time and
Okay.
let people know where they can get
Okay.
a copy of
The Cost of
Cost of
Love is available everywhere in ebook and paperback.
Okay. And if they want to connect with you on social media or wherever, are you Sharon C. Cooper pretty much everywhere? Is it author Sharon?
It varies, but if they go to my website, SharonCooper.net, it has all the links to my social media. Be that as
Okay.
Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter. And so if they just remember my website, SharonCooper.net, it'll take them. Yeah, they'll see
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Well, Sharon, thank you for returning as a guest again on Black
It's
Authors
my pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it.
and keep writing.
I will. Thank you.
Congratulations on
All
that.
right. Thanks so much. And thanks for all the support you give authors. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, we love doing it. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, you have a great evening and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
um, somewhere down the road when
Okay.
the next
All
book comes.
right. Take care. Thanks
Okay,
again.
same to you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.